The flame-grilled Whopper from Burger King. The most food-filling burger.
Is it, though?
Is that?
Yes. A slightly better version of you.
I don't understand.
Just like the new Whopper that's juicier and tastier than ever before. Same, but hits different. That's my line now.
Oh, sorry.
Whopper never tasted so good. Order now on the Burger King app.
This is the Go Radio Football Show with Burger King. Order the ultimate food satisfaction with the Flame Grilled Bacon Double Cheeseburger XL. Order your Burger King delivery now.
Let's go!
Good evening, and the breaking news at 5:02 is Steven Gerrard is in talks with Rangers about taking over as manager of the club in succession to Russell Martin. Billy Dodds is with us, who of course was on with Barry Ferguson and Neil McCann and Alan McGregor just a few months ago. Peter Grant is here as well. Billy, that's the breaking news. The talks have started. Steven Gerrard has jetted into town, and it looks as though, if the conditions can be met on both sides, he'll be the new Rangers manager.
Yeah, I still think we have to say that he's just in talks, and it's not obviously a done deal, but I think it's going to be an appointment that has to appease the fans. I think that certainly does. I think most fans are crying out for him. There's also another couple of candidates they're talking about, Kevin Muscat and Derek McInnes, but you know, we're not going to get carried away with ourselves. What we're going to say is that we've heard that he's in talks, but just because you're in talks, it doesn't always get the deal done, Paul.
Jermaine Defoe is in town as well, and yesterday he spoke with Jim White exclusively, saying, hey, if I was needed, I would answer the call to come to Rangers. What do you make of it if it is Steven Gerrard? The Rangers fans, they'll never forget the fact that he made it the 55th title.
I think nearly all Rangers fans would be delighted with that appointment. I think it'd be one they would welcome. I think that's got to be one of the stipulations where they have got to be happy with the appointment. It can't be somebody who they feel, the fans, they're a huge part, that they pay their money to get into the games, and it's somebody that they really don't want. So I think Steven Gerrard and the other candidates I've mentioned certainly fit that bill. They've listened to the Rangers fans, haven't they? I mean, it was really tough for Russell Martin. We were talking about it on a personal level for him. He came in here hoping to do a good job, but it just didn't work out. They got it so wrong. It sounds as though Andrew Kavanagh and Parat as well, they need to get it right this time, because Kevin Thirlwell was there, Patrick Stewart, and it went wrong just a few months ago. Yeah, and it's, to be fair, it's very upfront, very bold of them, very honest to say that they got it wrong and they've taken the hit for it. So a lot of boards don't get that far. They'll just shy away from responsibility. But Andrew Kavanagh and co, they've not shied away. They've admitted they're wrong, and they obviously want to get this one right, and they've started talks with their candidates, obviously. Of course, Peter, what about this news? It's not done yet, but Steven Gerrard in town, Jermaine Defoe in town as well, and it looks as though if the conditions are met, but I know there's lots of financial implications. He's been over in the Middle East, and it's not a done deal yet, but what do you feel? I've asked you about it the other night on the show, and you pointed out his record last time round, apart from that title, wasn't great.
Well, as I said to you, Paul, if it was somebody's CV coming in, for Rangers I'm talking about, they've usually looked at winners, people that have won things. You go back to Van Bronckhorst, you know, and you look at Philip Clement, guys that had won things. Steven Gerrard won the league. Well, everybody talks about COVID season, give it an excuse the Rangers players could play, obviously there's no fans, they gave it all that one. So if one trophy in 9 tells you that you can get the Rangers job, I think it's more the name they're signing, you know. And the bottom line is, this is who the fans want, this is what it feels like. Are they going to take the responsibility if it doesn't work this time? You know, that's the biggest thing. And that's what Rangers have got to be very careful of. Is it the right candidate? Is it the right man? I know the supporters will be saying, yes, this is what he done this, he done that. But if they're looking in the cold light of day, and you have to, as a board, you have to pick the right man. If Steven Gerrard's in Glasgow, they've already agreed to everything else. Steven Gerrard's not going to waste his time coming here, coming up here to talk or whatever. He'll already know what's going to be in place for him. And if he wants the job, it's his. It's as simple as that. There's no way he's in Glasgow for anything other than that. And obviously they talks have taken place before he even jets into here, because you know what Glasgow's like. It's a village.
Not a concert, not a show tonight, no.
I was going to go see. I'm going to Katy
Just
Perry.
checking.
Yeah, you never know. She's big in the USA as well. Billy, they do keep their cards close to their chest, but they are in town. And they wouldn't be here, as Peter said, unless they were close to it. But there are big implications there. Some of the other names mentioned, Kevin Muscat, for example, Derek McInnes, of course, at Hearts, Sean Dyche, although the word last night was that he didn't seem to want it, and Barry Ferguson. But Barry, you, Neil McCann and Alan McGregor haven't been mentioned that often. And yet, just a few months ago, it was between Barry and, well, I know there was also David Ancelotti. Are you disappointed that you haven't had the chance?
I was disappointed at the time when we didn't stay in the building, but you have to move on, and they are looking to make an appointment, as I say, and all those candidates you mentioned, they all fit that criteria, don't they? Where the fans will be quite happy with any of those if they get appointed Rangers manager. I think this one, even though the 49ers do keep their cards close to their chest, and that's a good thing, especially in Scotland when we're all chasing stories. They keep their cards close to their chest. I think it's a good thing that they are taking the fans' consideration into it this time, because it's a huge appointment. It's an important appointment after what's gone before.
No window for nearly 3 months. Can Stephen Gerrard, or whoever it is that takes the job, can they turn this around with the squad that's there? 30 million spent in the summer. What do you feel, Billy?
I think probably looking at it, you could get more out the squad that's there. I still think that if you're asking me if any of those candidates come in again, that they would want to bring in their own style first, maybe a different style to what was going on. They would have their own ideas. They would probably want a few more players, and I'm sure with the 49ers, with the money they've got, there'll be plenty of backing as well. So I think any manager or coach looking at that, getting there, I think they could probably think they would make a difference, Peter.
No, I think so. The biggest thing is where they go for here. Because they've got a lot of time left. They're in all the competitions so far, and you can say 9 points behind Celtic, 11 behind Hearts. You would say to yourself, over a season, Hearts have started fantastically well. We've seen what happened to Aberdeen last year. Celtic have not really played that well yet, but still up there, as you say, 2 points behind. So you're thinking, is it catchable? You'd be saying, well, what would be the criteria for them? Do you need to win both cups because you're out of the league? Because I think then once whoever comes in, that's what the least expectation will be, to try and get a double, and that'd be the 2 cup competition if they think the league's too far away. We talk about a January transfer window. Dodds will tell you near impossible to get the players you're wanting, because all the quality players that they're very, very, very unusual are they available, Paul, at that particular time. I definitely know for a fact you're looking at the defence and you're thinking that needs sorted out. Central defence needs sorted out, no matter who the manager's going to be.
Rangers fans, what are you thinking? That's the news. Rangers now in talks, the owners in talks with Stephen Gerrard, and Jermaine Defoe is in town as well. 0808 17 17 700. The night before last, Jim White met up with Jermaine Defoe in London at the Legends dinner, and he asked him, well, this is what he said.
Jermaine, as always, it's great to see you, and as always, we're talking about Rangers. It was sad to see the fashion in which Russell Martin left the football club at the weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, just on obviously the human side, of course it is. But I just feel like it's a demand at that football club. You have to win. And listen, if he'd gone there, hit the ground running in 1 game, they would have loved him. It's as simple as that and that. But if you don't win, then you know that you're gonna you're gonna get that sort of pressure from the fans and the club because of the demand. When I was there, nothing was, it was the same. I remember when we won the league and Stevie come in. One of the first meetings, one of the first things he said to the players was, "Okay, we won the league. We've got to do it again." That's the sort of pressure that he got from above. And that was the pressure that he put on the players. It's as simple as that.
The guessing game begins, and it will go on as to who's going to come in.
Yeah.
If there was a situation that was to enable Jermaine Defoe to return to Rangers,
mate, I'll be straight on that flight. I think it's well documented how much I love that football club. The boy from the East End, back end of his career, goes to a club like Rangers. I was a massive Coisty fan when I was a kid, and I end up, playing for that football club. It's more than a football club to me and for all the fans. I still got loads of friends there. I still speak to Gene, who worked in the kitchen for about 30 years. So yeah, I mean, listen, it's an unbelievable football club. I was privileged enough to play for the football club. I understood what it meant to play for the football club and the badge. Yeah, it's a special place for me.
Billy, is he going to be meeting up with Gene in the kitchen again very soon?
Well, if the rumours are true, it sounds like it, doesn't it? I mean, he's got a passion for it. You can hear him there. And Steven Gerrard has been out in public saying that he wants to. I think he did the Rio Ferdinand podcast and said he wants to have a look at different avenues, maybe different changes style and changing backroom staff. So it all fits nicely, but as I say, it's way beyond getting it done yet, because there are implications, tax implications, where he is, when he can come back into the country, if he wants to, how happy his family are. There's loads to consider, but it looks as if he's willing to talk.
Are you in the same stable, management wise, agents wise?
Yes,
you personally, yes. So because I know,
but you got all different.
Of course,
I'm with a company, Wasserman, but and there are other companies out there. But within that big company, there are like loads of different agents with different players, so they don't always speak to one another. Let's say.
Rangers fans, what do you think? 08, 08, 17, 17, 700. Celtic fans, well, second top of the table, Peter. We will talk about it after the meeting the other night. The statement came out from Celtic afterwards. It was a kind of holding one. So it's hard to see where this is going. The disconnect at the moment between the board and many, the collection of Celtic supporters who want change.
Yeah, I think the difficult is, Paul, when you go to something and you want answers, and I think when you're getting asked things, I don't think there was any questions that was getting asked that you can't answer, if you understand what I'm saying. And I think that's the frustration going with the supporters. What I read online, like everyone else, you're seeing the report, and you've got to be. And I know there's certain things Celtic can't answer as well, but the way they go about their business, how things fell down, how the players they were in for, whatever. I think that should be much more clearer for them. I think that's a frustration for them, because everybody spoke about it. We spoke about it probably for last January, February, March. Right through. So all the supporters have been talking about how strong, right, we've got the Bayern Munich, we keep going back to that. We know we're going to lose a certain amount of players, maybe 3 players that's going to go. So on top of that, we need players to replace them first and foremost, but we also need another 4 maybe to make the squad stronger. And I think that's been the biggest frustration with the supporters, and you can sense it. Listen, they were brilliant when they got the winning goal at the weekend. The supporters were brilliant, really, really delighted with the way they responded with the players, and it was fantastic end to the game. But Motherwell played really well in the game at what they're trying to do. But as you say, Motherwell have won 1 game this season. Everybody's telling you how brilliant they've done, but they've won 1 game. And that's the pressures that goes with Russell Martin at Rangers and what it has been at Motherwell. That's what it's like at Celtic and Rangers, Paul. There is no gimme. No. You've got to be top of the tree, and that's with the best players, and that's you being successful and going for a treble. Nothing else matters here. Nothing else.
Could be a sliding doors moment. Celtic could power on and do really well again this season. Or Rangers, if it's Steven Gerrard, he's 2 games away from 1 away from a cup final if they beat Celtic. It's a big if, but then they could be, League Cup could be on the mantelpiece for Christmas.
You did ask me if whoever goes in, they feel as if they could make a difference, and I think anybody going in there, and most people should be going in with, it's a fantastic opportunity, because there's your starting point. You've just mentioned it, semi-final against your biggest rivals to reach a final. If you knock Celtic out, you'll be favourites. That's the way they'll be looking at the job, and what a start that would be. Now I know you could lose it, but you're talking about opportunities here, and then see if you can get a bit of momentum, see if you can get a bit of consistency, and if you do that, you might start closing the gap as well. So there's a really good starting point there for Rangers. I think when you get into probably any club, Peter knows, being a manager, that you probably want to get in when when somebody's not doing so well and something happens, maybe they leave to go into bigger and better things, or they fall out with the chairman or whatever what happens. You don't want to really get in there when they're doing well. You like to get in when they're rock bottom so you can improve it.
That's a great point, isn't it? And Rangers are at rock bottom. And Peter, you take my point, it could go either way for Celtic. They kick on. Brendan Rodgers, what's going to happen with him? Elite manager. He could be up in the dugout just yards away from Steven Gerrard. It's box off for the cameras for Premier Sports for their cup final, and for the Sky for the next game, and for Scottish football if it's Steven Gerrard. And I agree with you, the record was really poor, but we heard last night so many Rangers fans were coming on and they wanted, I mean, what I took from it was Steven Gerrard or Barry Ferguson was what came through last night. But it defies the logic of just looking at 9 trophies available in those 3 years. Nobody's going to get 3 years anymore, are they?
No, and that's the thing, Paul. He's not going to play.
Yeah.
There's the bottom line.
Sure?
No, but there's the bottom line. So it's the same players.
Yeah.
Listen, if they don't do what Dodds done, I said there, it's Russell Martin that's getting the blame. Not the new manager coming in. That's fact. It's going to say how we got off to a bad start, Russell Martin, the players, blah, blah, blah. But what you've got to go back to now, the one thing he's going to get to start with, if it's Steven Gerrard, he's going to get the stands full and they're going to be singing his name. The complete opposite of what the feel was for Russell.
Sure.
And that was sad to see. But that's what happens. So that can galvanise them, that can help the players. The ones that have shied away, let's be perfectly honest with you, who've shied away from it, and sort of looked as if been a rabbit in headlights. It's been too big for them. And how's he going to get that in them? Because remember, that's the players at least he's got to January. So he's got to get a song out them. And at the end of the day, how does he get in and handle it? Before he maybe went in with Iron Glove, bang. I'm not sure this group are ready for the Iron Glove.
Not get that mental
that toughness. And you've
a lot
got
of
to
them
do this.
I agree.
And
a lot of them have
that is an issue. And I don't care who the manager's going to be. That's going to be an issue for him because he'll need to do the soft glove to try and get a performance from him. The big thing he's going to get started with, as I say, if it's Steven Gerrard, the stands will be full and they'll be chanting his name and they'll be delighted it's him. So that's his start point. That only lasts for so long.
Billy, were you the good cop or the bad cop in that triangle?
I'll answer that.
Alan McGregor, obviously the goalkeeper.
There were 3 bad cops.
I can let you know that we all had our chilled moments. Barry was very good with them. Neil, we would demand in a good way. We would demand thorough, a nice firm approach, but make sure we got the message across in a nice way. And if there was any question marks, you would handle it, but it's not like the old days where you would go through them. The boys, you could ask any of them. It's pointless me here rabbiting on about how the boys were.
We like the way you rabbit on.
I think some don't, but anyway, I think the boys, if you asked them, I think to a man, they would probably say they really liked the way we handled the situation. There was no really bad cops, good cops.
Jimmy is on, big Rangers fan, saying, Billy, Peter, what's the hallmark of a Steven Gerrard team? If he's in, talks are underway. If you're just tuning in, Jermaine Defoe is in town as well, so they are certainly the first candidates up. But Steven Gerrard obviously as the number one. What would a Steven Gerrard team look like, do you think? What changes would he make between now and the window?
I think, I'm not saying they didn't work hard for Russell Martin, but I just think that they maybe lost their way a little bit. So I would think starting point is work ethic, because even though he was a talented player and a top player, one of the best players in the world, I think his base from Steven Gerrard as a player was hard work, and then the talent came, and I think he'll be wanting that from his team.
And that should be a given, shouldn't it?
Yeah. But it's not always.
Peter?
Competitive.
Yeah.
Listen, but it doesn't matter who the manager is, Celtic or Rangers, you have to go and fight for everything because everybody wants to beat you. Whenever you turn up, they want to beat you. So they're doubly aggressive, all these things. It's bizarre. Dodds will tell you, he played with different clubs. When I was here, every single game you'd fight, scratch and bite. You maybe outplay them at the end up, but you'd fight, scratch and bite. And the one thing, you'd be wanting to get closer to the opposition. And let me tell you, Paul, sometimes you can work really hard, and I can understand the frustrations of Russell Martin because he'll watch him in training doing all the pressing, doing all the closing down, and then they come to a Saturday and they feel as if they're treading water because of nerves. And that's what I'm saying. That's how they're going to handle that just now. Are they going to handle the kid gloves, or is it going to be that aggressiveness? And you've got to have a start point. And for me, it was to make sure the opposition stopped playing. Right away we were always told that. But who's going to win the headers in the box for them? Who's going to go and head the ball away when they're defending set plays? I don't see the people there still to do that. But he's got to find a way between now and Christmas before he can get anybody else in. So whoever the manager's going to be, you've got to get that out of them. And that's whether it's on the training ground and they look great in the training ground. But listen, when your legs are heavy on a Saturday because you're in that wee bit of criticism, please believe me, it's a lot harder.
And you heard John McGlynn, the Falkirk manager, at the weekend, and he was very respectful about Russell Martin. This was just an hour or two before Martin was sacked. He said, we could smell blood. I think he did say that. Rangers were on the ropes, there's no question.
I think probably most teams in the league smelt blood just now, just because of how vulnerable Rangers were, whether it was through a lack of confidence, whether it was through the style of play, whether it was the high line or full backs inverted and pushing forward. They could find areas, but they knew they were vulnerable, especially at the back. And you saw it. Most teams are scoring against Rangers. Most teams feel as if they can score, and you're right, you've got to judge it. John McGlynn is usually as respectable as they come, and he still is, and he made that quote because that's what his team felt.
Let's be honest, Paul. Falkirk, the full stadium was supporting Falkirk. That's what it looked like. because they were criticising the manager. Ibrox, they've been supporting the opposition. You can't do that. You've got to support your club in its toughest times, and they didn't do that. And I'm not saying his performance, his team, because I don't watch Rangers, but Russell maybe never engaged that way with him, and it was very, very difficult for him. But if you've got the full stadium wherever you go, it makes it very, very difficult for your players. They got a winner against Livingston. You thought it was going to beat 2-1. You thought they were going to beat 2-1. Sack the manager right away. You know, and that
They cheered it for a moment, and then it started.
It's impossible.
Russell.
It's impossible. That's what I'm saying.
I know.
It's impossible to get that support.
Turn that round.
So now what they're going to get is whoever the manager's going to come in, he's going to get that support. But then they've got to keep it, because please believe me, if they don't win games of football, it's very difficult. You know, Gerrard and that maybe got a little bit more time, but you've still got to go and win games of football if you're Rangers manager. That's the bottom line. You'll get excuses maybe to January, then that's it.
I think whoever goes in will get a lot more time, just because what you said at the start of the programme, Paul, was the fans have to be pleased with the appointment. I think they will be. Whoever any of those names. And then on top of that, if it doesn't go well, the first thing you say as a manager, a coach, that they're not our players. We need to get our own ideas in, and that'll buy them time on top of it. And I think the Rangers fans will not even think about giving a bit of stick to way into next year. That's how far he'll get along the line to if things don't go quite the way he wants.
Billy Dodds, Peter Grant, you're steeped in it. Playing for Rangers, playing for Celtic, managing as well a number of clubs. Peter, you've had 25 years in England at the highest level. You took Inverness to a cup final just
Well,
two and a half years ago.
So not that long. Myself 35 to wait to do the arithmetic here.
Yeah.
I'm showing my age. 21 years coaching.
Is that right?
As well,
So yeah, and you led Inverness out against Celtic just 2.5 years ago. Who would you have gone for in the job? And you were involved in it. And difficult question maybe, but what was your feeling for the Rangers? If you were Andrew Kavanagh, who would you appoint? Taking you and Barry out of it, given that you've got a vested interest, who would you have chosen to be manager of Rangers at this point?
I think any of those candidates you've mentioned. I'm not trying to sit in the fence. I think any of them. I'm a wee bit. But
I'll try and nudge
okay,
you.
Okay, I am. But if you'd have said to me, as a Rangers supporter or a Rangers coach, or you know, who given me the choice, I think any of those three, produce any of those three on the table, I think the fans are happy. I think most people would be happy.
Sean Dyche.
Why?
I think he's ideal for them. He's Rangers type. He's aggressive in everything he does. He builds teams. You know, he went with Burnley and whatever, built them up, made them really, really difficult to beat.
It was remarkable what he did with them.
Remarkable.
For so long.
You know, but I must admit, when he was mentioned at first, I was surprised, because I don't think there was when I read stories a couple of years back when Sean was in fighting fire at Everton as he did at the time and done fantastically well there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure there was a great camaraderie between him and Thewell.
Of course.
That story at that
right.
particular time. So when I seen Sean getting mentioned for this job, I was quite surprised at that. But I'd attain Sean Dyche. If I was a Rangers board, that's the one that I'd attain, because that's what they need now. They need somebody that's going to galvanise them. Very good with the press. He's a fighter, an aggressor. Stephen Gerrard's a box office name, there's no doubt of that. The Rangers will always remember him winning the one trophy he did. So that's what they dine out on. But I'd attain Sean Dyche.
We're going on the lines next.
This is the Go Radio Football Show with Burger King. Bring home the ultimate food satisfaction with a Gourmet King's Barbecue Steakhouse Angus. Order now on the Burger King app.
Let's go on to the lines with the news we broke exclusively at 5 o'clock. Stephen Gerrard in town for talks about the job as manager of Rangers. On the line, a big Rangers fan is here now. Davey. Hi, Davey. Good evening.
How you doing, mate? How you doing, Paul? All right?
Good.
David.
First time calling, Davey.
Yeah, first time caller. Hi, Peter.
Hi, David.
Hey, Billy.
Hi, David.
How you doing?
Good, sir.
Good to hear you. So, what are you thinking?
Good, mate.
What's your feeling?
Well, what's my feeling? Right, well, what is my feeling? Basically, this is like, obviously, listen, I went through the 9 in a row with Rangers and that, and I remember Peter.
Thanks for that, Davey. I was going to say.
Listen, I'm a Rangers man, but I remember you, Peter. I remember you, good man. Billy, I remember you as well, obviously. No,
like to think so. I'm younger than Peter, much younger.
No, this is the Billy. Basically, obviously, this to do with Gerrard.
Yeah.
The talk about Gerrard come back, and people were saying, should he come back, should he no? All I think about is, yeah, he won a title, yeah, and it was an important title. It was his first job, and he had a few years to get it all together, and he got it together. Now, how many managers would have a few years to get it together and win a title? We've not had that, and he done that. So I just think that, yeah, give him another chance, and if he can come back and he wants to, if it is unfinished business, yeah, give him a chance, and because it'll bring the fans back. That's a safe bet. It'll bring the fans back for one, and at the end of the day, that's what 90% of the fans want. They want. I can guarantee you, they want Steven Gerrard as a manager, and I just think that it'll bring them back. He'd never managed a team before in his life. He was at Liverpool as a coach, and he came to Rangers, won the title after a few years. Just think, it's a safe bet. What do you think?
Yeah, Davey, we've already touched on that. I'm with you, where I think it'll keep the fans very happy. You said 90%. I totally agree with you. I think it's a case when you put the case forward that anybody that can show improvement, and that's what he did over the couple of years. Now, people still say that he had 9 trophies to play for, only won one. But you're right to say he improved it, even though he did struggle for a wee while. And for me, and I don't know if you agree with me, but that's exactly what they need just now. They need improvement. But he's got a lot of problems in there. He'll need to fix them. But he's definitely somebody the fans want. I think it'll get the crowds back. It'll get everybody on side. Everybody will galvanise and will get behind him. And I think he has to improve it.
Personally, I think it's it's bad to say, but it's a safe bet, because at the end of the day, we could go for somebody else, and it maybe no work. And I think that we need stability now. And let's be honest, the fans that turned out when Steven Gerrard first got the job, I was actually looking back today and on YouTube, and the fans turned out. There was none of that when Martin came. You just seen everybody was in a roar for Steven Gerrard, and it was all down to the name. It was down to Steven Gerrard, the name. And I tell you what, you've got like Aarons, and you've got like Gassam, all these players. These guys will like be in a roar seeing this guy walking into the dressing room.
Do you think that'll give you you think that'll lift the players? Because most of them, Gassam has done well. Yeah,
sure. But even just players that haven't had a boost, I reckon it'll like. Let's be honest, Steven Gerrard walking in the room, you're going to turn around and go like, I'm going to show this guy what I can do. This guy's a legend. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, give him a chance, and I hope he does. I'll be honest with you, I hope he does come in, because Billy, yourself, and Barry, and Neil McCann done an amazing job at Rangers. Appreciate it. And but Barry will never take that job as an interim again. So if there's going to be a full-time guy coming in, it would be either Barry or Gerrard. But I think deep down, I think the fans would like to see Gerrard coming in, just to, I know it's hard to say, but because I love Barry Ferguson to bits, but Gerrard is a big, massive name, and it'll just get everybody going. And if he can turn this around, and by the way, the season's not done. The season isn't done. There's a few points in it, but Hearts are never going to sustain that. They're never going to stay up there. Once they start getting injuries and all that, they'll start losing points. Whether we catch Celtic, but we need to at least get second. We need to at least get second.
I hope whoever gets in there comes out with a speech like you, Davy boy. I'll tell you, they'll be out in good safe hands then. But you're right to point out that it'll galvanise the fans right away. He is a huge name. People will respect him right away before there's even what gets done in the pitch. It doesn't mean to say it's all going to be rosy, because to me, looking at the squad and being there last season, there are still a few problems there, and that's played out in the results. So he's got a hard job in his hands as well. You're never stronger as a manager than when you just take the job, isn't it? So my question is he going to be in charge of the signings come January? I think he's got to work with Kevin Thelwell. I think that's the key here. Get a bit of balance. Don't be saying, well, I want to do all the signings and Kevin Thel. Just say, we'll work together, we'll get names, we'll go through them all, we'll be thorough, we'll check their background, we'll make sure they can handle the size of a club as well mentally? What they like when things that aren't going really well? Are they tough nuts to crack? Do they dig in when the team's not winning? You can find all that stuff out, and you can make phone calls. Although there's a big bit of it placed on analysis nowadays and analytics, there is still a place for making calls to find out the real background behind players.
Paul.
Davey.
Sorry, can I just say one thing to Billy?
Absolutely.
Obviously, Billy, you worked with young is it Finlay Curtis?
Yes.
Yep.
Right. Outstanding when he's playing.
Yep.
Scored a few goals. Yeah.
Yes.
I just don't understand how this manager had come in and started. We get with that young boy that came from Tottenham, and we're actually ditching our young boys. That's like that boy's done nothing since he's came to Rangers. But Finlay Curtis has been outstanding, and he's just been shoved to the back. And I hope if Gerrard does come in, he'll see what that boy's got, because I tell you what, that boy should be in the team every week.
He's you know why he's like that, Davey? His attitude is second to none. I loved working with him.
Why is he not in the team then?
Why
was he not in the team?
That was Russell Martin's choice, not mine. Don't ever go at me.
He would have been in your team.
I'm not even sorry, but
I know you will. I know you will.
Just...
I know that. He is a boy that I've got so much time for. Neil and I stayed behind in the training ground, worked with him loads. It was just nice to see him coming through. He has got an attitude, old school attitude. Peter will love that, to die for. And that's why he's getting the success he has. I don't know why he wasn't in the squad at the weekend, but he did come up trumps for Rangers and help Russell Martin out a couple of times in his managerial reign.
Peter, what would you say to Davey? Because Davey, I don't know if you listened a couple of years ago, but the Celtic legend that is Peter Grant, he called out.
He is definitely a Celtic legend.
Davey, we hear this. He was the one brave enough to call out Morelos when everyone said, "Oh, what a great striker!" Do you know 2 seasons running he was allowed to come back late from international duty and missed Champions League qualifiers, and nobody was big enough to say it. Nobody. Yep. Peter was the one. Peter, what's your observation of this just now? Because
I think Dave's right. See what the supporters, as I said earlier on, they'll be galvanised if it's a Steven Gerrard. So that gets you a start.
Yep.
There is no doubt of that. But I'm looking through the squad and I'm thinking you had McGregors, you had the Davises, you had the Arfields, you had the Lundstroms, you had the Taverniers, you had all these guys. I'm sure there's many more that I'm missing out on. Yeah. I wouldn't mention Morelos in it because I thought he was a bad pro. Yeah. And I said that at the time. I thought he let the managers down. I thought he let Van Bronckhorst and that down as well. So I look at it and I think to myself, yes, Steven Gerrard's going in here and I don't think he's got the types of characters in the building. So it's going to be his character that needs to rub off in these boys that's in there.
Does he make a change with captain?
No, I wouldn't say that.
Keep tapping it. You've got Raskin.
But I'm saying, so you could add Raskin because Raskin's got that wee bit about him. He's got that wee bit of aggressiveness. So now you've got to say, right, where am I going to get the leaders? Because that's all the things you've got to look as a manager. It's not about the skill set of what certain guys have got. Of course, that's important.
Keep you uppy.
Yeah, but it is, Paul. But it's so important. Yep. You know, where is the men in here? I've questioned the fact, where's the leadership? Who's the guy shouting on the pitch and organised? Raskin, I see doing it. You know, I see him moaning at people and whatever. I look round the rest and I'm thinking, right, where does that come from now? So Stephen can come in. They're going to get the fans right behind him. Listen, you could probably get Ibrox filled twice if Steven Gerrard gets announced for their first game. There is absolutely no doubt of that. But the bottom line is the team good enough? And that's what I'd like to say today. Who do you see in there? Where is the weakest part of your team?
I think there's a time and a place to handle the captaincy one, because let's look back just a few months back. I think Russell Martin tried to handle it. You can cause yourself problems before you even start. There's a time and a place where it comes a time, and Tav's had a brilliant career, and it might be and I'm not saying right away, it might be a couple of years' time that he has to move on, and or a year's time, and you sort the captaincy out then. But right now we said him getting in there galvanising everybody. You don't start picking fights that's going to cause you a bit of trouble.
Yeah, Davey.
Oh, just one more thing. Sorry, one more thing, because this is my first time caller. Sorry, Dave, what you're saying about Tav. Well, there was a proof in the pudding. He tried to drop Tav to put Arons in, and look what happened. Everybody was saying get Tav back in the team because it just shows you what the guy's like. The guy has scored a phenomenal amount of goals for Rangers. And then everybody's moaning about, his defence isn't the greatest, but see when he's out of the team, we're weaker. Yeah, and when it comes down to the captaincy, keep him as captain. bring, and you're talking about strong guys in the dressing room.
Yeah.
Get Alan McGregor in as a goalkeeping coach, and bring Jermaine Defoe in as a striker, a coach for the strikers. Because I tell you what, that's one thing we're lacking. And then obviously that Chermiti that has come in, could go on and on about Chermiti.
Yeah.
He's came here because obviously a certain person's brought him here because he signed him for
Kevin Thilwell.
Everton.
But
I don't want
listen,
to get into
but,
that.
he could end up being brilliant. He's 21 years old. I see.
Well, hopefully anyway. But listen,
Okay.
I just want to say thanks very much, guys,
Thanks,
for
Davey.
taking my call,
No
and
problem,
and
David.
it's been good to be on the show for the first time.
Great to hear you.
Cheers, David.
Even though you want
All right,
Jermaine,
cheers, guys.
All the
Cheers,
best,
bye-bye.
even though
Bye-bye.
you want Jermaine back in as a strikers coach, I never did that. No.
It was not bad when you were in, Dodds.
He's got no answer to that one. Yeah, that's the news. Steven Gerrard in town. Jermaine Defoe in town as well. Katy Perry in town.
Maybe she's a striker coach.
What else is it?
You're making exclusives, then you're coming out with Katy Perry. You do the
I'm
old
just
reverse.
saying, no, there's no reversal. There's no U-turn here. What's it? You're not in the BBC. Actually, the great somebody there when you said other brands available. Commercial radio, you can just say when you said about your agents. Don't worry, we're not. You're
Stay
not
with it,
constrained
Paul,
by
stay
that.
with it.
Listen, a few I don't know football fans, and we'll talk Scotland very shortly, are saying, but what happened to him with Aston Villa? You know, one of the biggest and richest clubs in England with the owners, and then in the Middle East, and it went wrong. And maybe after the break we will talk about that. But that is a question. But I can hear there's a wave of optimism from the Rangers fans, Billy. We've heard it now for a week, and it kind of defied logic in some ways. I get it, the importance of that title. But I heard that man there the other night on the show, and when I mentioned Steven Gerrard, and you did, come out with the things that you might say if you were trying to get a sense of perspective on it.
I think Steven Gerrard would look at it and say it never went to plan when I left Rangers. I went to Aston Villa and it didn't work out. I was relieved of my duties there. It's still a huge club and you still have to handle big expectations. Then he goes to Saudi and is well rewarded. He wants to get his managerial career back on track. You can't blame him for wanting to come back here and realising the opportunity. But it's a tough gig. It's a tough gig, and Peter, you're not just Peter, but you're right to look at what's happened since. It's not all gone smoothly, but the place he felt most at home with and got his most success as a manager was at Glasgow Rangers Football Club. So you can see why he might want to come back.
But that's why I asked the question: should they only be winning, even in his period, one trophy?
Yeah.
That's what I'm asking.
No, probably it should have been more. And the club have.
But I'm talking about for Rangers,
and they've declined since then.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So if you put that CV in compared to others, I'm sure would have been in for the Rangers job. There's no doubt in my mind that people would have better CVs. This is the fans talking.
Yeah,
the fans won't get sacked. When Steven Gerrard, the results are not going well. Steven Gerrard wasn't good the second time round. It's all for him. He's got that feel-good factor for the supporters. They want him. They're desperate for him to be there. He comes now. Now you've got to go and try and win things. Because it's Celtic and Rangers. Dodds will tell you, you've got to be number one, Paul.
Yeah.
You've
You
got
can't be
to
number two.
Nothing.
No, sure.
And you don't get any excuses.
Yep.
You don't get any. If he takes a job tomorrow, there is no excuse now.
I know if we asked anyone at Celtic, how do you feel? Steven Gerrard in town, talks are on. He probably will be in the dugout for the Dundee United game if it all goes well. Is this going to make Celtic sharpen up a bit at a time when they took their eye off the ball over the summer? No question.
Only if he was playing.
Right, not in the dugout.
Not in the dugout. What you got? Listen, you've got to say then we'll get Brendan Rodgers in the Celtic dugout.
Yeah.
You've got Derry McInnes doing fantastic at Hearts. We've got to say that. David Gray's trying to rebuild Hibs. It's a different party he's in now. I wouldn't say all the teams were as strong when Stephen was here the first time. Now, there's a different party he's coming up to. It's not just Celtic he's fighting. He's got to fight the rest of them now. And they're all... you have, Paul.
I
Everybody
was thinking that, sure.
everybody told you, but well, that's what I'm saying. Aberdeen are spending money now.
Yeah, sure.
So you would say Aberdeen have got a decent squad, even the position they're in. So it's not going to be as easy as you think of just coming back in. Football's never like that. You've got to go and earn it. You've got to go and get after it. I'm not sure he's got the characters in there. I'm not saying about Steven Gerrard. I'm not sure. I can't say overnight, all of a sudden, Steven Gerrard's in the building. They've got the character there to go and push on.
Clever generals or lucky generals, and sometimes it makes a change and you get a momentum. We're back in a moment. Somebody could well win £2,500.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King. Try the new and improved Whopper, bursting with flavour and juicier than ever.
Let's go!
Well, we're down to just one voice. You have to guess all five, but only one of them is brand new. So if our next caller gets that voice and the other four tonight, he will or she are going to win £2,500. All right, James, who have we got? It's Finn is on the line now. Hi, Finn. Good evening. Finn, where are you?
Hi, guys.
Hiya. Where are you calling
How you
from?
doing?
Good. Yeah, good. Thanks. You?
From Armadale, West Lothian.
Oh, you're in Armadale. Excellent. So, who do you follow?
Glasgow Rangers.
Glasgow Rangers. Have we heard of them, Billy? Is it Glasgow Rangers?
I thought it was Finn Curtis.
Yeah. We just spoke about him the other day. Who's your favourite Rangers player?
Oh God, I don't know the new, to be honest.
That
tells you plenty. Yeah,
Nico Raskin.
I know.
Well,
Raskin.
Well, you know the news tonight that talks have started. Stephen Gerrard is in town. Jermaine Defoe as well. So how are you feeling if it's Stephen Gerrard?
To be honest, I don't really know. I'm just happy Russell Martin's away. If Gerrard comes in, I'll back him. I liked him when he was here, but I was gutted when he left. But the only one that worries me is he's only won one trophy out of a possible 9, and if he comes back and it doesn't work, everybody got to turn against him. I don't really want that to happen, so I just hope that whoever's got to make the decision, they've got to get it right this time. They've got to get it right.
A bit more on that in a moment or two. You're one voice away. You've got to guess all five, but I think you know 4 of them. You've been listening on the Go Radio Football Show, so I'm going to play it to you. Here are the 5 mystery voices.
The Go Radio Football Show.
So voice number 1
is Lawrence Shanklin.
Number 2,
Michael Moles.
Number 3,
Paul McStay.
Number 4,
Johan Mialbi is what I'm going for.
Right, the former Celtic defender and assistant manager. And number 5,
Arthur Newman.
Arthur Newman, that great Rangers defender. So you've got 4, and if you've got Johan Mialbi right, the guys here don't know. When you hear it, I'm going to play it one more time for you.
The Go Radio Football Show.
Yeah, that foreign accent. Could it be Johan Mialbi? Peter, what do you think?
It's a fantastic guess. But bear in mind, Paul McStay is in there.
That's right, yeah.
And 14 years I was with Paul.
I know. Yeah.
Roommates.
Yep.
And I wouldn't even have knew it was him.
Honestly. Yeah.
And Dodds said he used to make my tea.
You said that. Come on, let's be right up front here.
Billy, do you think that's Johan Mialbi?
That's a brilliant guess.
You know what though? It is a good guess. It's definitely. I would say, and I stand by it. I said to you last week. It sounds like a foreign ex-Celtic player or Celtic player.
Yeah. Are you saying what? Could he not be a foreign ex-Hearts player? No, he couldn't.
I just think with the balance of what you're putting out there, and you throw in Moles and Newman, I think, and then Shanklin's there. I know that, but McStay, I think it's got to be another Celtic player.
I think you're right. It is, but it's an ex-Celtic player. It is. But Finn, I'm sorry, it's not Johan Mialbi. But that's a really good guess. Yeah,
there's a few Celtic defenders.
I know.
There's a few.
Yeah. But not quite right. That would have been £2,500, Finn.
I'm lucky.
Yeah, big Rangers fans, a lot on the go, isn't there? So that was. I heard what you said. You were not alone. The Rangers fans weren't happy. Do you think? I mean, what does success look like then under Stephen Gerrard for this season? I mean, I'm thinking you've got a cup semi-final in 3 weeks' time.
He's in for that. It's got to be. That's got to probably be his first proper big game. Obviously, it's an old firm, so if he doesn't win that, I just hope that people don't jump on his back straight away. Rangers. I'm a Rangers fan myself, but even with Russell Martin, we were all shouting him out before he even started. I know I'm not sticking up for him in any way, but I just hope that if Gerrard comes in and he doesn't start to get results straight away, I hope that we've got to give him time this time. We can't keep sacking managers and getting new managers in every 6 months. It's never going to work. They're just stuck in a vicious cycle. So I just hope that if it's Gerrard, he comes in, if he doesn't get clicking straight away, I just hope that the fans and everybody else give him time.
Billy, that is important, isn't it? But we said it to him, when Philippe Clement came in, give him time, he talked about a project. I know that wasn't said so much with Russell Martin, because people hate to hear about projects anymore. Because
too many at Rangers. Rangers are not a project club. That's for sure. You can have maybe one where you're trying to bring him on and see where he goes, but to have the amount of Rangers have had over the last couple of seasons, far too many. You're not, and you're right for Finn to say that, where it's about winning games. We've said that. Peter said at the start of the programme, you've got to win games, and when you get too many projects, sometimes that can, I'm not blaming them, but it makes it more difficult to win games. That's what I would say. And I still stand by Finn. I think he will get a time for even if it doesn't go well. I don't think the fans will turn on him. They want him in there, they want him for the long term, and I think if it doesn't go well, he can blame what he's inherited, and I think that'll buy him time as well.
Then Scotland in action tomorrow night. Obviously we'll be hoping to do well against Greece. 1 draw, 1 win so far. What are you thinking?
I think Scotland will do it, no bother, like them on. Definitely, I think they'll do it, no bother.
Yeah, we'll get 2 Scottish internationals here. Peter, that would be brilliant, wouldn't it?
No, it'd be fantastic. Greece are a good side, but Paul,
they beat us, 3-0?
They were excellent here
203 days ago.
Kazaridis, I'm not sure the wee winger. He's only young, but seemingly he's out with illness. That's a blow for him, because he's a terrific player. But listen, the striker, I can't remember his name at this moment in time. He's a very good striker. Plays at Benfica, and he's a top quality striker. I think that's going to be vital. That centre back, whether he goes with a 3 or a pairing in there, I think that's going to be massive on the outcome of the game tomorrow evening.
Finn, what's your scoreline for Scotland tomorrow?
I'll go 2-1. 2-1 Scotland.
That would be brilliant. Finn, thank you so much for coming on. Sorry you didn't win it, but maybe next time. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks, Finn.
Well done, pal.
Cheers. And if you're listening and you know the answer, you could win big with our friends at Vision Scotland. Register now at thisisgo.co.uk. You could be playing tomorrow night. And tomorrow night we'll be coming live from Hampden 5 till 7. Sorry, you two are not in the squad. Hey, I'll probably not
for
be
the first time.
I'll probably not be in the squad either, but I'll probably be robbed tomorrow night. We're there before the game tomorrow, Billy. So it's not quite like at the Beeb. We don't do the game, but we're the build up. So you'd rather listen to us in the build up and then tune. I'm only kidding. Over to you on Radio Scotland.
The build up, and then can you stay and watch the game?
Watch the game. Well, you're not going to throw out Barry Ferguson and Mark Guidi. Maybe me, but no, we'll be there tomorrow night, and I'm really looking forward to it. And it's going to be tough, isn't it, though? Greece in town.
Listen, we beat them away 1-0, which is a brilliant result, but when it came to the crux set, they beat us 3-0, and I did the game that night, and it was comprehensive. We have to be at our best. I don't think it'll go smoothly, but I'm hoping we can sneak a result, whether it's a 1-0 or a 2-1, as Finn said.
Here is Dylan on the line, a Rangers fan. Dylan, good evening.
Hello, lads.
Hi, Dylan. Hi, news is up soon, Dylan, but what are you thinking? The news, Stephen Gerrard's being interviewed.
I've got the quote of the season for you, lads.
Go on.
If he's ever been with a lassie.
Right, okay. I think we'll check this one during the news. You've got us.
It's very PC, don't worry.
Okay.
You're doing very well for yourself, maybe. Wee bit big for your boots, and you think the grass is greener somewhere else, and the next 2 or 3 don't seem to be the same. And you always think back, right? Even Gerrard had a Rangers photo in Saudi in his office.
Did he?
Yeah. Right, you'll look at that wee photo of your ex on Facebook. So see when you get her back, trust me, lads, you're not letting that go.
Okay.
So that passion that man's going to bring as well is going to be a 2-sided thing. It's he's coming home again.
Keep going. We don't hear that too often in Go Radio.
Dylan's happy.
Are you happy, Dylan? I can hear it. And do you know what? There's been such a pall of what would you say, Billy? There's been a gloom over Rangers for a long time. A lot of it was really harsh on Russell Martin, but it's good to hear you feeling happy about it. Is he the man? Well, clearly you think he is. He's going to turn it round for Rangers.
I'm very excited to go to the match in a week on Saturday, Dundee United. I just think it's that immediate spark, the reaction that will get in the dressing room. I don't know if you've seen some of the posts some of the players have put up, looking very happy.
Have they?
I mean, the training photos today as well, carving stuff.
That's right.
Buzzing. But what was it, Clinton Ciala had put up a wee photo in his Instagram. It seemed like a wee swipe. I don't know, the negativity. it needs an immediate reaction. I think Gerrard will get that. He commands the respect, and he understands it, lads.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously, Billy, has a really... I know he left the club, but he does speak so fondly about his time at Rangers, and he had such a brilliant connection with the fans.
Yeah, that's what makes the fans, and a lot of them, a huge percentage of them, desperate to get him back. I wouldn't say that's the case with all our ex-girlfriends, but anyway, that's why the fans want him back. And he's still got a job to do, though, Dylan. I would say that I think he'll get time, as I've said to the other couple of callers. I think because of who he is, because that's what the fans wanted, and also on top of it, that if it doesn't go his way, he'll get a bit of time because he's inherited a group of players that are simply not his.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, the one thing I'd be careful with the boys that's on social media. If I was the players, they should be embarrassed.
Yeah,
they should be embarrassed for the manager out the door and the criticism he taken, because it taken a lot away from them. They never performed. Let's no kid ourselves.
That's a great point. They've had shockers.
They've had shockers. So none of them should go on social media.
They shouldn't gloat.
They shouldn't be gloating. They're the ones that should be looking at themselves in the mirror. Why somebody's out of job.
And look what you did with that group. Okay, there's 13 new players in, but a failing group. But you beat Fenerbahce, you beat Mourinho, you beat Brendan Rodgers, the title holders at Celtic Park. And I'm not taking away from the games that you should have won.
They were good. They were good players, but they just didn't do it consistently enough. And then when times get tough, some of them, not all, some of them just found that mentality hard to find, to just dig out a game that they weren't playing well.
Dylan, you had the line of the first hour there. I think a few of us have got people with pictures of us, but they're dartboards, I think, in X's.
Absolutely.
Not in Peter's case there.
I might end up with a couple of messages tonight. So we'll see. You said there's work to do, same as Gerrard, so we'll see what happens there. But thanks very much for your time.
Thank you, Dylan. Great Cheers, line. Pal. He's coming home. Cheers, Dylan. Buddy. News is next, then we're back. 0808 17 17 700.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King. Save big with the £6.49 Kansas Barbecue King Box, featuring a barbecue stacker burger, fries, Kansas barbecue chicken fries or onion rings, and a drink. Exclusively on the app. Let's go!
So we're looking forward to Scotland tomorrow night against Greece. Remember, we'll be there. Pre-match, Barry Ferguson, former Scotland captain, Mark Guidi, Scotland's top pundit, and I'm looking at you two in the studio tonight, Billy Dodds and Peter Grant. Not your former international stars, and me, Paul Cooney, looking forward to that as well. So Steven Gerrard in talks, but still a lot to be sorted out before he returns to Ibrox, if indeed, because I think on both sides there'll be a lot to sort out, not least the fact that he has been in the Middle East for some time, and we all know there would be tax implications. It's way above any of our ken, I would say, Billy, but it shows you the ambition of the new Rangers owners to go for, certainly he's the fans' choice.
I think it's a case of it's good to talk, but it doesn't tie you down to anything. No. It's getting a feel for one another. If Rangers are doing their job properly, they'll speak to other candidates as well. I think that's where it is. Just because you speak to somebody, it doesn't make it a done deal, but it can get you a good way there if you speak properly and they hear what they want to hear and they're impressed. So it's all part of the journey to hire a new manager, Paul.
The players were off for a number of days, which you would expect, wouldn't you, at the beginning of the international break? The international players will be abroad, but they were back in training today. So it was taken by some of the coaches, the remaining staff there. But Steven Gerrard in town, Jermaine Defoe in town as well. And the international break, Peter, we want to talk about Scotland as well, but everyone's been overshadowed. And it always happens, isn't it, when, at Rangers has happened so often in the past few years. It was only 3 years ago just now, Giovanni van Bronckhorst was the manager of Rangers, and he'd won the Cup just a few months before, the Scottish Cup, and he was just that penalty kick away from winning the Europa League, and then it went Pete Tong.
Well, it was interesting, at that particular time we spoke about Michael Beale sitting at the Aberdeen game, obviously. He was in the pub, and you're thinking Van Bronckhorst was successful. He had a style of a manager. I really liked the way he came across and spoke about Rangers Football Club. And they make changes sometimes, Paul, because they listen to too many people. Sometimes you've got to ride it at times, and it gets you through because you know what you've got to try and build. Even Dodds and that, when they were in for a short period of time, I can guarantee in my hand and my heart, they would know what they would need to put in place to make Rangers better. And that's the bottom line. And sometimes managers need that little bit of time. even the very best. Sir Alex Ferguson was it 4 years? So the very best. And listen, it was a lot easier to continue in your job for 4 years then as it is now. But you see, this window's a nightmare, international break. If you're not doing well by October, there's a possibility you're losing your job no matter who you are. But as I say, managers go in, they do definitely need a little bit of time. You can buy a little bit of time trying to get the best out of the players you have, but they may not be the players that you want. I'm still looking at that group and I'm thinking, is he going to produce somebody out of three that can play for them? You know, it can get into centre back and play centre back and make them more defensive. Has he got that strength and power in the middle of the pitch that he's going to need to try and win games? You know, because you need all that combination. Has he got that character when things go behind him? You can't bring that for a top hat. You can't go out and play for them.
Yep.
And that's why I'm saying they should stay away from social media and just concentrate. That's what one thing I'd be saying to the players. Stay away from it, and all you concentrate is trying to make Rangers Football Club and this team better, nothing else. And then you'll take it from there, because you can't do anything before obviously Christmas. And Dodds, as I said earlier on, he'll tell you Christmas is very, very difficult to get the players you want.
He's got to get something out of them, because they have been faltering. There is no getting. It's factual. You can't get away from that. The players at times let Russell Martin down. You can look at Russell Martin, maybe should have done things differently, but that was his style. That's what he wanted to do. That's what we all do. We pick the way we want to play. But the players have, and I'm sure they will, because a lot of good lads in there, they'll hold their hands up. Even if it's another one that's gone, they'll say, geez, we could have done better there. But whoever gets that job, whether it's Steven Gerrard, Kevin Muscat, they've got to get a turn out of him. They've got to get something right away with what he's got until they can implement maybe one or two changes within the window. I don't think it'll be wholesale, because Peter's just touched on it. You go into that January window, if you get two or three, that's all you want. You don't want to change wholesale. Wholesale comes in the summer.
Celtic not playing near their best. The manager said it, but at the weekend, Peter, they got the goal late on. And I'm thinking in the context of Rangers, given the fact they're in such turmoil, and it's not all rosy at Celtic, but Celtic would say, yeah, but we're still 2 points off the top. Hearts got that late goal as well. I know it wasn't a great Edinburgh derby, but for Celtic, I wonder what's the effect is going to be of this. And I heard you say in the first hour, if it's Steven Gerrard, they're not going to be quaking in their boots.
No, because why would you?
They're not going to be anyway.
No, but at the end of the day, you're going out to play as a football player. I never cared. I couldn't tell you who the Rangers managers when I played.
I bet you could.
But you know what I mean? I wasn't being disrespectful. I never wasn't wondering who was.
Sure.
You know, it was all about,
because they're not on the pitch.
Because remember, Souness came and all that. We knew they had top players.
Yeah. Sure.
We knew they had top players. So at the end of the day, we know we have to perform to try and beat them. And we knew that.
Yeah.
So there was no getting away from that at that particular time. Celtic have obviously looking across and seen what's going on. Of course, you'd be kidding yourself on if you say completely different on that. But the bottom line is, Celtic have got good players. I said to you last week, how many's been above a 7? There's not been many. No. You know, Nigrin comes on at the weekend. I was great to see Balakwisha setting up the goal. Arne Engels with his pass. All the substitutes come on and made a difference in that period, you know, and that's when it becomes difficult when you're playing, like say, the Motherwell's not trying to play that way. You have to be constantly good at it. You make one error, the top players punish you. Nigrin could have had a hat-trick in this period of time he was on the pitch. Balakwisha obviously puts the ball across. Maeda was having an absolute beast of a game. You know, and you think he's going to be one of the first to be taken off. Manager keeps him on, moves him to the left. He starts to get a wee bit more effectual, but then he moves him again into central and he gets the goal. You know, and they're the wee things that can spark everything. And he looked delighted he scored, and the fans were delighted he scored as well. So hopefully he's going to come back after this break and he's going to have that wee bit more oomph about him. But as I say, these players have still not played at their best yet. And that is the one thing Celtic have got in their favour. I'm looking at the squad and I look at the boys that come off the bench. I can't see that with Rangers. I just can't see that. And you can't make that just come out of the air, Paul. You know what I mean? That's got to be ingrained in you, what's in there. So Celtic players still need to perform at their best, but they've done well to hang in, as you say, in there, and you're 2 points off it and you've not played at your best. That everybody's raving about how well Hearts have played, and everybody's telling you how bad Rangers are. So it tells you with Celtic, they've been consistent without playing anywhere near the levels they're capable of.
Listen, we'll never know, but we would have been talking maybe about Jimmy Tilleen if he hadn't got the win at the weekend, and also a good performance in Europe the other day. And listen, we're all pleased to see it. Nobody in this station ever wants to see somebody getting the hammer, because they go into their work intending to do that, giving their best. For
It shouldn't ever get personal,
no,
but it does.
It did,
It's
didn't
the way
it? It has.
all managers get it. It's weird how they don't say, you know, you don't mind, you do, but if they say, you know, get out, or that's it, enough's enough. But it does get personal, and it did get personal for Russell Martin especially. And you didn't want it going that way with Jimmy Tilleen, but fans can't help themselves. They're so frustrated at times that they're not getting wins. They sometimes say anything, but when it does get personal, it's not nice. And even there should be something where there should be a hidden side to it as well. I see the papers today with Russell Martin bluttered all over the front of him. I don't think that's not nice. When they invade your privacy, I don't think that's the way. That's got nothing to do with football. And everybody saw it. It's not nice, but that's where for me it crosses the line. They shouldn't have to go and get photos of you what you're doing 2 days later after you get sacked. They've got their way. That's football management for you, Paul.
It's pretty punishing, isn't it? You know, there's the big bucks, but it doesn't give people the right to treat Russell Martin the way he was.
Paul,
It got too
there
personal.
were some guys on the line.
Yeah.
Should be in a prison cell.
Yeah. We just need.
No, but I'm serious. Some of the things, because it was threatening. It wasn't. It was beyond.
Yep.
It was beyond.
Outrageous.
And listen, we can all have our thoughts. I don't like that manager. I don't like that player.
Yeah.
But that was scandalous. Rangers Football Club should have found out who it was and said.
And maybe they are trying.
That's
to.
what I'm saying. And said to him, "You're banned for life."
I would imagine
because it was
somebody would be looking
disgraceful.
at it.
It was disgraceful.
Totally
and I don't care
agree.
who it is. And that's for. I'm not just talking about Rangers sports.
No.
This one was, and he's on there. And it looked ridiculous, not just for Scottish football.
It's horrible.
Because everybody was talking about doing England. You've seen this. And I'm thinking,
terrible.
it's ridiculous. This is football. It's our life. I told you, Manchester United out with Manchester United. Celtic and Rangers is the one with the pressure.
You've got to try and stay off it if you're a manager. You've got to.
Oh, you must, because I mean, how could you? Do you know what it's like if you get comments at work, feedback about yourself? I got it at the previous radio station. It was a guy that the owners had brought in from down south. He'd lived up here for a wee while, and he said, "Oh, Clyde won. If it was a bar, I'd shut it down and open it again." It was the number one station in the UK. It was a 5-star. Do you know they brought in consultants, paid them a lot of money, and then they came back 18 months later and said, "Oh, it's a 4-star station." I said, "Hey, this was a 5-star station," and you lot came in. I mean, see people with the spreadsheets, the nonsense, the consultants,
agendas,
chase them.
agendas.
And there's a bit of this in football as well here. I'm now moving on to this. People impressing with laptops and all the rest of it. There's a place for it. Data is so important. Look at what Tony Bloom's done and his analytics at Brighton, and now maybe at Hearts as well. But there's also
got to be a balance.
Exactly. And people that know the game. I don't know how I got onto that one, but honestly,
you're talking about
and then I left the company. They didn't want me. I didn't want them.
Rangers,
I don't want to be in a place like that.
Rangers go and get Lauder up.
Yeah.
Because they know he can play.
Yes.
They go and get Gas going, they know he can play.
Yeah.
Forget the stats, because if you looked at Gas's stats, he hadn't played for 2 years before, or whatever, with Rangers, with Lazio, with his injury, and he had a horrendous injury. But you go and see with your eyes, and Walter Smith, more than anybody, knows a football player. You know, he made sure he got likes of Gas going. And Tommy Burns with the Canios, the Toms, Van Hooijdonks, Cadettis. It's not on a laptop. He goes and watches them. We played against them, but then goes and watches them. Is he a Celtic player? Can he wear that jersey? Get out in front of these supporters? More importantly, can he do it when it's not going particularly well?
Sure.
And that is the big
You
question.
don't find that out through analytics. No. I have no I like analytics. I'm quite, believe it or not, I know I mentioned my age earlier, but I'm quite modern as well. But I also have the balance of having a bit of old school, because I think it stands you in good stead. And if you can get that and get the analytics, yes, and you can get all the data, and it's really good, and be hard working enough to make some phone calls and find out a bit about the character by your contacts in the game. And it might have to be the manager or the coach or the assistant manager on the odd occasion where they go and make calls, because they might know somebody that knows this guy. It can be ever so helpful. So if you can blend that together and get the analytics with the kind of old school at times, you'll be on to a winner more times than most.
The biggest thing, Paul, with that was, you think of all the scouts you worked under, you know what you scouted your players or the managers. I had it at Celtic with Big Billy, God rest both of them, John Kelman. The miles these guys done. I mean, every night, youth games, first team games, you know, if there was players mentioned, then it would go to John as a chief scout, then it would go to the assistant manager, would go before the manager, then the manager would always set eyes on him. The manager would go and watch him, see if he's the type of player that he feels. He'd have the final say on that respect. I'm not sure that's the same now, because maybe it's not Brendan Rodgers or Russell Martin's at Celtic now or Rangers now, it's their players that's coming in. You have to then try to coach them. This is the type of player for this football club. Because if the manager changes and you've got to keep changing the players, that becomes a massive problem. And I feel that's what's happened at Rangers.
Yep.
Every manager's wanted to do something different. They've never been consistent, the type of manager they brought in. So that gives you a problem because they maybe not suit this. Belgium and Holland, they like 4-3-3. You know, is everybody going to play 4-3-3? But they can only play one position then, right? Okay. Sure. So all these things change, Paul. But you can't do it for a laptop and think you've still got to get your eyes on it because that is the biggest difference with Celtic and Rangers players, how they can handle that.
I agree. I think within the recruitment team, you've got to get that balance as well because too many clubs now, the recruitment is full of, and nothing against the lads, computer boys who like to just look and see if that player's playing well. Yes. I think you've got to have a mixture and get, you get the computer. Very important to get these computer guys. You can call them geeks, whatever you want, but they very important. But I think you've got to have a mixture of football people who can then go and look at the player along with the computer geeks. I don't think you'll be far away.
Huge period for not just the Rangers fans, but for the chairman, Andrew Kavanagh and Parag Marat. They've got to get this right, and it's the recruitment as well. It's the whole structure there in the club. They came in the summer, they inherited some positions, but they've got to get it right because they put a lot of money in and they'll be in for the long haul. The Steven Gerrard name, number one, because he's an international. He was in America, of course, and they must look to that as well. You know, these owners of football clubs, they live in that kind of billionaire, rarefied atmosphere. And have you got? I've got a guy called Steven Gerrard, and everyone knows him. They know him in America as well. Paul's a Rangers fan. They probably know you as well, Paul. You're always frank about your views. What do you make of it, Steven Gerrard in town?
Listen, Paul, I'm quite comfortable with Steven Gerrard, right? Big name, big persona, will attract players. That's a big thing I think about. Where I'm not maybe as comfortable is Thelwell and Patrick Stewart. And the reason being, I think the two guys have let us down numerous times, particularly Thelwell, right? His recruitment at this moment in time hasn't been great. The signing of his son, is that taking place? Has that been announced by Rangers, or do we know if that's taking place, Paul?
Well, there were stories saying he started yesterday, but I can't confirm that, Paul.
No, we've been unable to confirm it. We're not sure.
Well, that, and also Patrick Stewart. I don't know if you remember when Clement was going out, he said there'll be a root and branch review. That was the word. So a root and branch review. Has that ever come out? Has there ever been an outcome?
No, I don't think it has come out because you're right. They brought in consultants to.
That did happen because we were spoken to.
That's right.
Barry,
but I don't think we've seen
Alan
the outcome from it, have we? I don't think that has been published. No. And you heard my view on consultants a few moments ago. They take your watch, and then they tell you the time in general. Yep. And I couldn't really understand. Look, Rangers, it's a big football club. It's not a massive company looking from a business. It's a huge football club. Massive. It's not a massive company. Do you know what I mean? In terms of turnover and everything. And I do find it strange when people come in as a new chief executive on big money. And I don't know Patrick Stewart, and he came from Man United, but any chance of getting in, you smell it round the place. You get to know, that, all right, okay, good aptitude there. Right, that's areas I don't know about. Anyway, no, you're right. We haven't heard, and I'm sure a lot of work was done. There's a lot of people.
Well, that as well, Paul. Okay. The money spent in that, and look, I don't know the guy, so I'm only saying just as an outlook at him. But they came for two failing clubs, you could probably say, right? Man United haven't been great, and neither have Everton. So there's a lot of things that I think are raising eyebrows. But also, see the open letter. I don't know what Billy and Peter think, but the words that stuck out to me were Parag and Andrew and I will be deeply involved. Now that's basically telling me, trying to give the guys credit, but listen, we gave you one chance and you've messed up, so we're coming in to do the work. So actually, I don't know how many other fans are kind of thinking now. Thelwell and the other guy, where I'm worried about Gerrard is he'll want to come in, be his own man, he'll want to make his appointments. I don't know how that'll sit when you've got a guy upstairs getting paid a handsome salary and he's got an ego. So you've got two egos basically, and that's my worry about it, Paul. I don't know the guys think.
You're going to get that in every football club though, aren't you? With a structure. It probably is the right structure. Who's the guiding mind? That's what we don't know yet for Andrew and Parat. There's is it Greta Steinson?
Yeah,
who is
Greta was in a few times as well.
What does Greta do? He works for the
49ers,
right.
Yes.
So is he the sporting?
I think Parag and Greta are Andrew's men that he really trusts. And I agree with Paul. I think they'll be more involved this time because they have to get this one right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, he's an ex-footballer, isn't he?
Yeah, that's right.
He's an ex-footballer at Bolton and all that as well. I'm not sure if he was at Bolton at the time that went through the bad time. To be perfectly honest with you,
that was such a time, wasn't it? Neil Lennon went there, didn't
I think Neil was there at that time. I'm not sure.
Do you know what, Peter? That's funny because when the one day that Greta Steinson come into the building, he sat down with myself, Neil and Barry, and I asked him the question. I said, how did you end up in the business side of football? And it was through his story to me. It was when Bolton were struggling and got into administration that he kind of, as a player, as a captain, because he was injured, he said, that went round everybody and galvanised them and got the club together, and they got through it. So I said, it was interesting how he got himself into business. I remember, because it must have been,
remember, it was the chairman that put a hell of a lot of money in it. I mean 200 million at that time was a hell of a lot. Remember, because they used to sign the big superstars at that time. Particular time under Sam Allardyce and whatever. So all of a sudden they realised that we've no money coming back in because it's Bolton Football Club. And then Greta Steinson was in there. So it's interesting, but they've got to take responsibility. You know, you've got Stephen Gerrard. So now the big thing you've got is Stephen. If it is Stephen Gerrard and you get Stephen Gerrard in, you know you've got the fans on side. So what's the next step? You've got to make sure these guys are accountable for their job, what they're doing. Because the two guys are flying in and saying, right, well, we're going to. The way I read that as if they we'll leave it to you because you are the football people. Now we're coming in, we're the business people. This can't happen again. This can't be seen. So but they're listening to the fans, they're watching everything on what you call everything you can see about
social media
everywhere. They've seen all the negatives. They've seen what's happened at the stadiums with Russell. They'll not want that to happen again. So who's the one guy at this moment in time that would probably say be the complete opposite for that would be Stephen Gerrard. But they have to be careful. They're doing it for the right reasons and the football reasons. That's for me. That's very, very important because Stephen Gerrard's backroom staff is going to be massive. Because if you remember the first time, they already had Michael Beale as a coach. As a coach. Jermaine Defoe, I worked with Jermaine, we came to Bournemouth as a kid. Jermaine's just into dealing with a lot of the kids, football and whatever. Rangers is different. That's completely different.
Of course, you're absolutely right.
So that's important.
I'm just thinking, Billy, from the optics point of view, and fan power did work. Although Russell Martin, the record was really poor. I get it. Okay, maybe the owners need to be seen to be engaging with Stephen Gerrard, because as I understand it, there are hurdles. I mean, everyone knows it's stratospheric the money he was on in the Middle East, and I think he'll be locked out, I would imagine, for a certain period of time, and that's a huge amount of money. But maybe they're saying, right, what are the hurdles? Can we get over them? But maybe they're not over them yet. We're not saying Stephen Gerrard is going to be the manager. He's the number one choice, and I said that last night at 5. He's the number one choice. But they're not there yet. But maybe it's a good thing to be seen, to actively engage with them, seriously, but they might not get it over the line.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of detail to be discussed. I think they'll have to find out what the tax implications are from his time, and he lives in Bahrain now. So,
and his wife likes it there.
I think that's ongoing, at least to January, February, April, something like that.
Okay.
I think there's definitely tax. So that's to be discussed. Then there's the feeling, is he the right man to come to the club? The fans certainly feel that. But I think with Andrew and Parag and Greta maybe taking a closer bit of attention to it, I think that they'll get a feel for him. So there's plenty of discussion still to begin on. As I said earlier in the programme, I think it's a case of they'd be silly if they didn't speak to more than one person. And I think it's just to start, if it is the start of talks, to try and get a feel for Stephen Gerrard, and I think they might do the same with another couple of candidates as well.
Peter said in the first hour, if it's not, well, his choice would be Sean Dyche. You said that earlier on. Strong candidate. I was trying to find out if it's
ruled himself out though, practically, isn't he?
Well, that's the soundings. He hasn't actually said it.
Well, I think Sean would be at that stage. If I went to Sean Dyche and I'm Rangers, he's out of work, and I go to Sean Dyche, knowing the type of character he is, and I think it's the type of character Rangers need. If they went to Sean Dyche and said to him, listen, we'd like to speak to you about the job, Sean would turn around and went like to him, am I getting the job?
He's not going to do the beauty parade.
Listen, I'm not doing it. Listen, there's my CV, you've worked with me, you know who I am. You know, so there it is. Are you giving me the job? No, thanks very much, then I'm not interested. That's the type of character Sean, and probably that's the type of character Rangers need. Somebody that's going to be firm and make sure everything's done properly. And I'm not sure. I'm not saying Russell wasn't like that. I'm not meaning that in any disrespect. But what I'm saying is that's the type of character Sean Dyche definitely is, because I know him well enough in the respect to that. And I cannot see Rangers if Steven Gerrard turns around and says I can't come back to April. No chance.
That would wipe Sean Dyche off a few clubs' lists, because if the club's doing it properly, you don't just go for one. They have done that. That's not fair. A lot of clubs have done. They've just gone, no, that's it. We want him. We know the man they want. Look at Jose Mourinho last week, going back to Benfica. They want him. Deal done. So it does happen. I'm not daft, but if clubs want to do it and they want to go through the process, that would rule him out a lot. And maybe that's why he's been out longer than what he expected.
We've got Glasgow and the West talking. Thanks, Paul, for your call.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King. Try the new and improved Whopper, bursting with flavour and juicier than ever. Let's go!
Strictly, Billy, have you managed to watch it? I know you're on the radio and the TV.
I've got to be honest, as I said, honest. Because I'm a good lady, I watched it, yes. And he did well.
Didn't he do
hang
well?
On. Yes, very emotional.
He was, wasn't he? Yeah.
And I felt for him, because you could see it wasn't put on.
Yeah.
Ross can have a nice face for the TV and the morning shows, and but that wasn't put on. You could see that at Loch Lomond. Nice touch going round Loch Lomond, wasn't
as well. Yeah, they came up last week, did that straight back down. The training, Peter, it's I think it's like the days when you were at Barrowfield. It's punishing.
Absolutely fantastic guts. I mean, great credit to him, and as you say, putting all the support into him and hope it goes fantastically well, And as I said, my boy trained to do something similar for charity, and I seen the work it was in, and that was only for a couple of months, Paul. So you could, unbelievable. So it is, but to have that guts to go and do it live every week, great credit to him.
It's great. So we did ask you, Vita, being a Pole, who's your favourite player? We were trying to find out who it was. Lewandowski, she said. So
not a bad choice.
Yeah, indeed. Of course,
no Jakanowski.
Well, exactly. Or Artur Boruc. So I was trying to think if Rangers had any Polish players.
Darius Adamczyk.
Of course, of course.
Not a huge name. No, Darius, but a very good player. I played with him at Dundee. Yeah.
Gosh, I couldn't get that one last night. That's right.
Darius Adamczyk. Couple as well, I think. Yeah.
Great. So that was last night.
A few.
I think he's going to be on the breakfast show tomorrow as well. But so many people here in Glasgow and the West supporting Team Rosita, Ross and Jovita.
Let me recover.
It's Billy Dodds. How's Eva doing? DJ Eva?
Yes, fine. It's her birthday tomorrow. I'm actually, after this show, we're going to have a family night together and a meal when Eva's coming round.
Oh, lovely. Room for
got
two
a big
more.
Gig coming up with Hannah Lane.
She has. That's brilliant, isn't it? So
fabulous.
Are we all going? It's a sellout, isn't it?
I've sold out in 5 minutes.
Wow. Yeah.
She's a big name, Hannah Lane.
Oh, I know. Good. So looking forward to that.
Peter knows all about her.
Happy birthday to her. Yeah. Wish her all the best. Fantastic. Yeah. Peter, family all well?
Great, pal. All Can't complain. Touch wood. Everybody's good.
That's great. Peter Grant and Billy Dodds. We did wonder, is Billy going to be here? Because you've got to have a bit of humour in life. Nobody wanted to see, well, a lot of Rangers fans wanted Russell Martin to go, but it's never good news, and not the way that he went. But I did wonder if I'd get the call from Barry to say, look, we're back in at Rangers for even a period of time. It's not sorted yet. Steven Gerrard is in Glasgow. Jermaine Defoe's in Glasgow, but the deal's not done yet. And as we speak about it, maybe it's sitting down face to face, talking about things, but there are hurdles to be overcome. Do
you think, Paul, you were talking earlier on there, and I was thinking about Steven Gerrard?
Yes.
And you're saying maybe April time. I just don't think the Rangers fans would accept an interim manager knowing that Stephen was going to come in April. I don't think they would accept that. I just think they need something sorted now. I think Rangers as a football club need to make a permanent decision. And how that happens, if Steven Gerrard's got the issues and they can't come to a conclusion with him, I think they move on. They've got to move on. I think they need someone permanent. And there are too many changes too many times. Right. They've got to put someone in there ready to go.
If you were saying, is it Barry and Billy and Neil and Alan, I would say, if it's Steven Gerrard you want and he could come in April, it's not that far away. They're safe hands in them. Now, they might not want to come, but you can always make it work.
Well, I'm only thinking, if I was Barry Ferguson and how much he loves Rangers as the way I loved Celtic, if they'd said to me, you'd be thinking, would I want to go back and do that again after being knocked back? And that's the only surprising thing for me is if there's two candidates the last time and Barry was second choice to Russell, then that's something you've got to look at right away. Never mind anything else. But the fact that it's Steven Gerrard, getting mentioned. Obviously, other guys have been mentioned. But the fact that they had to wait, say, right, Stephen Gerrard's going to be the manager, but he's not here in April, I just don't think that would wash with Rangers fans.
Barry's another one that would please the fans, though.
Yeah.
Sure. You've got to get a name that's right away, and the businessmen, the businessmen aren't stupid when it comes to, they realise they've got to take the fans saying, they don't always businessmen into account here when it comes to, when we name somebody, the fans have got to go, yep, happy with him.
Yep, I agree.
Will the next manager last as long as Stevie Clarke has at Scotland? That's the question, because Scotland in action tomorrow night, and Stevie Clarke will become the longest serving manager, overtaking Craig Brown, whom we all knew and we remember fondly. This is Stevie Clarke speaking about the milestone tomorrow.
I haven't really thought about it, I've got to be honest. It's I think that's milestones and career marks and whatever. You obviously had a half decent career as a player. I've had a half decent career up till now as a manager or head coach. I don't think I'm finished yet, so let me finish and then look back on it and I'll tell you exactly how I feel about it.
It's probably the kind of thing to talk about after the game, because it's so important for us. This is a short, sharp campaign, as we know. It'll be all over in just over a month's time. 2 games this week, 2 games in a few weeks' time in November. So what about the players? 1 draw with Denmark, which was more than decent, wasn't it? And then the win over Belarus. We faced them on Sunday. He was asked today about the players' mentality.
Obviously they know that they've managed to qualify for 2 tournaments. They've been at 2 tournaments. They understand how close they got the last time in the World Cup campaign. It was a really good qualifying campaign. The playoff game didn't go our way. And they feel that they should have already had that World Cup experience, but they haven't. So this is the next chance. They're all at a good age. I know you say they're old, but they're not as old as me. They don't feel that old. They know they've got a chance to be there, and some of them will go on and have chances in the future. But if you look, it's 1998 since we were last there, so every chance we have to look at is our last chance. So why not do it this time?
There's been a call-up. It's Max Johnson's in town.
Just pad out the squad a little bit, just to have obviously 2 games, Thursday and then Sunday. You always assume that you might pick up some kind of knock or niggle. Just brought him in for that reason. That's it. Ready to go. He was unlucky not to be in the initial squad anyway. I had a good chat with him on the phone. I explained my reasons. He accepted them, which obviously was disappointed, but could understand why I'd made the changes. We are in Hickey and Tony Ralston both been fit, so he's back in the squad, and it's good for Max, more experience.
Peter, what are you thinking?
Tomorrow night.
Yep.
Team.
In general, your thoughts on it? Scotland team. I'd love to hear.
I think he'll go with Hickey, Hanley. I would go with McKenna at left centre back and Robertson. Then it'd be Gilmer, Ferguson, McGinn, McTominay, Christie, because I think they've all got a goal in them, and I think he likes Shea Adams, so I think he'll go with Shea Adams, especially in the first game here at home against Greece.
Okay.
So I think he's got goals in that front 4. He's got a good balance in the midfield too with Ferguson and Gilmer. I just think he won't play Kieran, because when he's brought in the likes of Max Johnson, I'm thinking there's maybe an issue with Kieran's situation. Tony Ralston's just back. That's why I know Hickey's just back, but he's had a couple of games since. He's big supporter of Hanley, but I'd pay McKenna because a natural left-sider if he's going to his 4.
I mean, a bit cheeky. Are you playing without a keeper?
You're going Angus Gunn.
You're going Angus Gunn, no question.
Even though he's back, Craig's in it.
Yeah. Okay.
Third choice his club as well.
Yeah.
I've not got. You've just thrown that at us, and I've not got a team, but I have. Remember Doken that didn't play against. I think it was Denmark, wasn't it? Right. And then they come in for the Belarus game. So I'm kind of judging it on what's the hardest game out of the 2, which is obviously Greece. And I wouldn't be surprised if he goes back to experience to graft our way through it, even though it's at home, and names nearly the same team he did against Denmark away.
Right.
And I mean, I've got that here.
So what was that team then?
Angus Gunn was in goals. Hickey, Suter, Hanley and Robertson at the back. Lewis, Ferguson, McTominay in midfield. John McGinn as well. Ryan Christie, and then Adams played off of Dykes.
That's right. Yep.
So it'd be a low line 4-4-1-1, 4-4-2, and going, even though we're at home and a lot of people expect us, but Greece, you saw in the last game at Hampden, Peter, they pinned us back.
Absolutely.
We could maybe have threats from a wee counter attack.
That's why I think he'll go with extra midfield. That's why I went with 3 goal scorers in midfield. I would say Christie, McTominay, McGinn to get support to Adams. with Gilmour and Ferguson behind, knowing that Lewis can run on anyway and he's got a goal in him when he does that. But I think that's why I would have him instead of Kenny McLean, because I think we were outplayed and outpassed in that particular game at home. And I just think he'll not give up that amount of space with playing with two strikers. I don't think.
Yeah, he'll make changes, because you heard them talking again. We've got 2 games, short space of time. He made changes the last time. I think I wouldn't be surprised if Doak misses out, and he's a brilliant player. Do you know what? Selfishly, I hope he doesn't.
Why?
Because I hope he. No, I hope he doesn't miss out. Sorry. Sorry. You can throw me there as well. I hope Doak doesn't miss out from a selfish point of view, because I want to see him, and I think he's a top player, and teams are scared of him, and I hope he plays. But I've just got a feeling he knows what one's the grafting game, and it's a graft against Greece to go out there and make sure you make, like, sometimes experience can get you that 3 points, and it's so vital. It's what a vital game it is.
You have to win, Paul. So I'm just looking at, that's why I put the extra goal scorers in. Young Doak, brilliant. I love watching him. You know, I love watching him play, and I love taking people on. But just to balance the side, that's why I would go with the 3 goal scorers just behind the main striker.
He was asked about that defeat just 203 days ago.
Certainly don't like getting beat in front of
and this of course is Ryan Christie.
Certainly don't like getting beat in front of your home fans, so we'd like to put that right, especially what the scoreline finished. Like I said, it was a frustrating night, but we're definitely in a new place now, and I would say there's probably a lot more on the line going into this one. And yeah, we're looking forward. It's been a while since we've played at Hampden in one of these qualifying campaigns, so looking forward to it.
And of course he's really getting to know Gannon Doak.
Definitely, he's an attacking player, and he's a threat, and it's the kind of player we need, to be honest. I think every time he's played for Scotland, especially at Hampden, just with his directness and pace on the ball, you know, he naturally lifts a crowd. He can change the kind of feeling of a game instantly, so you know, it's brilliant to have players like that in your squad. You know, at club level, like you said, I've got to know him a bit more, and, you know, training day in, day out and playing. I know how hard he works and how much he wants to do well. And I know how much playing for Scotland means to him. So, you know, he's young, but he's definitely ready to make an impact for us.
And Peter, what an impact those two made. They were subs at the weekend, weren't they? And they came on and
they were
changed
terrific.
the game.
Oh, they were brilliant. But Bournemouth have done exceptionally well with these young players. The manager deserves great credit. Semenyo obviously is in it, but Ryan and that make a big part of that team, you know what I mean? They're big players for that team. And Doak comes on, and the thing I liked about the game the other night there, when he broke, I'd seen him being a wee bit erratic in the final third before. When he broke, he held it up, he waited Semenyo coming, and then just rolls it across from to tap into the net. And it was something completely different that I'd seen in him, and I think that's the learning skills that he's having now, and that's why he's such a vital player for Scotland.
It's exciting, isn't it? Impact players, Billy, that we love to pay.
He touched on them, didn't he, Peter, at the start of the show, when he didn't feel as if Rangers got enough out there impact players, whereas Celtic are at times, even though Celtic still aren't firing. But if you can get a reaction, the impact players are on when your team are not doing what they should, so you want them to impact the game, have a part in scoring goals, and hopefully getting a winner that turns the game round for you. And Ben Gannon Doak, we should realise that. Indeed, as you said, yes, because I was calling him Ben Doak, and he wouldn't like that. So I hope he plays. As I say, I stand by that. I hope he plays, and he could. And Peter might well be right, but you just don't know. We try to get into the manager's mind, Stevie Clarke, and I played with him at Chelsea all those years ago as a young lad.
That's right.
It's very difficult.
He said he had a decent career.
He was a top player.
He's very understated, isn't he?
He's one of those ones. In fact, he's like that guy sitting across me, Peter Grant. Didn't say anything to you, he just booted you. And you knew about it. You were always wary. I didn't train with Peter. But
I met Stevie.
Clarke was. I tell you,
he's Ayrshire as well, isn't he?
Ayrshire boy.
Indeed.
But he would
Where's he from?
Is it?
I should know, but I don't actually.
It's down that way, is it not?
It was mentioned when I was at Celtic. Stevie Clarke was one that was always mentioned to come to Celtic to play at Celtic Football Club, and he'd have been a terrific player at that particular time, because after the great Danny McGrain, it struggled a little bit to get someone for that, and he came in. Stevie was one that was mentioned all the time with Celtic, but then all of a sudden he had a fantastic career. Even in his coaching, he's worked under some fantastic managers and whatever as well.
Quick, strong, aggressive, and you worry as a player when see the guy that's booting you and he just doesn't say a word to you. See, you don't mind getting in it. People tell he's laughing, but you're like, oh, I'll wait till I get a little sniff at you. I'll be getting you back and all that. You give it all that part. Yeah, now you're getting. Don't worry, I'll leave one on you. And big centre halves used to boot one, but Clarke, zilch, nothing. And you went, right, okay then, he's coming again.
I can't imagine Peter Grant though was quiet on the field, was he? I mean, he wasn't a quiet assassin. He
only played against Peter a few times, but not quiet. But I was
so
quiet.
Understated. You are so self-deprecating. You are, and so Stevie Clarke as well. But you do it with the humour as well, Peter.
And I know I'll not embarrass him here, but a top player, very, very undermined and underrated. That's what I'll say.
There you are.
I appreciate that. For a fellow professional, it's always important.
It doesn't count if we say it, if I say it, but if you say it, then it counts. Absolutely does. A few Scotland fans on as well, saying good luck to Scotland tomorrow night. It'll be a full house, I'm sure, and then Belarus on Sunday. And I'll tell you, even a point tomorrow night, or am I not being ambitious enough?
Win your home games.
Oh yeah, win your home games.
That's important, and especially after the last game, and that's why I think Gannon Doak will come on. Because I think you can't afford to bout this game and give Greece a start, because I think they've got good enough players that can keep the ball, and move the ball, and that's why I think you'll fill it with good energy in that central area. And if you go with a winger, it leaves you a wee bit isolated in one area of the pitch, even though he works really hard, but it leaves you a little bit isolated against the ball, and I think that's why you'll fill it with an extra midfielder.
I'm just trying to check. I'm sure it's Greece away, isn't it, and Denmark home. That's our last two games. That's why you've got to win it.
Our last game is Denmark at home. We're back in a moment.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King. Try the new and improved Whopper, bursting with flavour and juicier than ever. Let's go!
With our friends at Burger King, thank you so much for making the switch. More and more people tuning in and listening online as well.
That's because your break knows exclusives.
Well, I hope so. Well, he is in town. Anyway. He is in town. There's a lot, and one of the things I think he wants to know is what's the chain of command. And I can understand it. The managers, the great man, Alex Ferguson's, Martin O'Neill, Walter Smith, and of course it's moved on.
Well, he's got to work with these guys. Of course, so he's got to find out about them. You can't just go, I'll work with anybody, because if you get people that and you think, right, he's good at his job, it'll make your task easier, and it'll make your success rate even probably higher.
Yeah. Brendan Rodgers you'd put in there as well, first time round and second time, but at the moment maybe chain of command is part of the problem there as well. I don't know, Peter, but you need a clarity, you need open communication. I don't mean you have to go and tell fans everything, because there's a reason that you're in a boardroom to bring certain skills, and undoubtedly at your old club they need to refresh. They do. It's everywhere. It needs to, you need new talent if it's the right talent. But it's a fascinating time just now. If Steven Gerrard comes, he is the first choice of the owners, and he's obviously got to see as well, because it's a big risk coming back to an old job, isn't it? Sometimes it doesn't work. It worked for Walter Smith when he came back after Paul Le Guen. Worked with Billy McNeil when Billy came back to Celtic, and you were part of that double winning team, so it can work, but there's risk in it.
But you're talking Big Back and only talk about Big Billy.
Yeah.
Look at the group of players he was coming back to. There were men in there. Compared to me, there were even men, Big Roy and all that, real character. Yeah. That's my worry.
And some great players as well.
Absolutely. Great, but you know what I'm saying? But the character, they had that wee bit about them. But I look at Rangers, and I said it when Russell Martin was there. I said it when Clement was there. Where's the guys that's going to stand up and put the jacket on when they need to?
Who are they then?
I don't see them.
Billy?
No, there's not many.
There's not enough.
Touched on it before with the modern day player.
So Jack
like to look after themselves.
Big
Jack will say his piece. Tav will say his piece. Big John Soot will say his piece. There are a lot. Don't say hardly anything.
Raskin, I would imagine, has got a tongue in his...
Yes, Nico would say his piece. There's a few would say, but they weren't the old school where you're in the dressing rooms and you knew like who the leaders were, and you knew when they spoke, you listened.
Was Dessus one of them? We know he's gone. He was great, so maligned, but I mean, everyone's says so many good things. Plus, his scoring record. Look, I know he missed lots of chances, but he had a good record, a great record actually. Yes.
Never hear me say a bad word about Cyril. He's just such a nice guy, really good player. Had bits of his game that he had to work on, like holding the ball up, and that'd be weird when he's 6'2" and he's strong. But I used to see it when you get that physique, and you have to work harder at holding the ball up, but you like to run in behind, and people have got certain assets and bits to their game that are better than others, and Cyril certainly had that. He was a good goal scorer, and he would keep them back for more. And that for me is a sign of a good goal scorer. When you miss him, you keep putting yourself back in there, and that's what he did, and that's why he got his rewards and got out the 30 odd goals.
Georgie's on, a Rangers fan, saying, what about Derek McInnes? Look at what he did at Aberdeen, what he's doing at Hearts, and could Rangers get him, and what would it cost? So I see the record online. We spoke about it earlier. My guess was he'd be in about $500,000 a year, and the record online are saying, Scott McDermott saying it would be $500,000 to get him. So that's not out the ballpark if he wanted to go.
I think Derek would want to go. I definitely do, and I think it'd be a great choice for him. You look at what he's done with Kilmarnock, you look what he's done with Aberdeen, you know. And listen, Rangers, I know there was a chance beforehand when he was at Aberdeen, but I think he's got the Rangers background, he knows everything, he knows the Scottish game, he knows how to build a team. You see the difference to Hearts, he knew what Hearts needed, even though people will say, oh, but he never brought the players in, that was this, or through X, Y and Z. It doesn't matter, you've still got them to go out and play. They scored the winner in a really poor game the other day there in the last kick of the ball. What was the first thing Derek spoke about after the game? We never put enough crosses in the box, we never had enough shots in goal, you know, we never put the ball in the box often enough, we turned down opportunities. That doesn't change. I think Rangers do all these things poorly. They don't put the ball in the box, they don't defend their own box well enough, and that's what I'm saying. So he knows what Rangers need, he's played against them, he understands it, he understands the Scottish game very well. For me, that's why I'm saying, if you've got a chance against Derek McInnes, it's going to cost you a couple of shillings. You've got a chance against Stephen Gerrard, but you can't come to April, or it's extortionate money you've got to pay to get him. Derek McInnes for me is not a no-brainer.
Billy?
The one thing with Derek is does this programme get to certain parts of Edinburgh? I'm sure I've been driving down to North Berwick to play golf with Neil McCann, and I've heard
you're
it.
absolutely right. We on DAB are right across central Scotland.
Yeah.
Oh, we paid the big money for
I
the.
thought
for
that.
that.
I thought that. So Peter's in trouble with the Hearts fans.
we didn't get the FM
for the
licence.
first time.
He's just talked up Dale. I don't think you have to talk up Dale. I think he speaks for himself.
Absolutely.
And another one at the start of the show we mentioned.
Yes, we did.
And you know, if you go 3 or 4 candidates, whether it's Dale, Barry, Stephen Gerrard, Kevin Muscat, they all fit the criteria that if you put them into Ibrox, and some would argue more than others, but who would be better and who would be worse. But if you put those 4 names into Ibrox, I think in general most of the Rangers fans would go, yep, we're quite happy with that.
At the training today at Rangers, so some of the players were back in after a few days off after the draw at the weekend at Falkirk. And Stephen Smith, who's a really good Rangers defender, Blantyre's finest, so he's been in today at the training. So he's in
the academy. Stevie
today.
Came through
good
and spoke
young man.
to us. Great lad. Came through and spoke to us about a couple of players that are in the youth who were reaching the first team and getting training with us. So we were in constant dialogue with Stevie, and I'm not surprised he took the training. There's nobody else left in the building that could have done it, to be honest.
Good family, Stephen Smith there. So he's in at the moment. Stephen Gerrard is in town. Just looking at the other names, Kevin Muscat we spoke about. So he's got 4 big games coming up, and he would be in China until at least the end of November. But that's not that far away. But I know there's, and I hear what you're both saying. The word is there's going to be an appointment soon. So, but maybe they say somebody's coming. If it
How
is
long
Stephen Gerrard,
soon? Soon can be 2 days, 1 day, a week.
Yeah. What would you be expecting, Dodds? I'd be expecting somebody to be taking training on Monday as manager.
Okay, getting ready for the Dundee United
100%.
Yeah,
they'll have to get it moving fast. I think if that's the case, they'll need to talk to all the clients and or whoever and get the feel, but also get the details of the contract and the details of what that particular client needs. So it could be Monday, but I think it might run a wee bit longer than that.
The 49ers have, there's money there, isn't there? There's huge amounts of money. I mean, America is just, we are on a different scale in the UK compared to America.
That's a good point, Paul. You know why? Because a lot of football people at Peter and ourselves are looking at it and thinking, what's there to work with? There'll be a few problems before it gets better. But you know what's there. And I'll tell you what, that's one of the reasons Derek McInnes didn't go the last time. He didn't feel as if the background was right at Rangers, the directors, whoever was in there, I can't even remember.
But the club was in disarray.
I think now Derek McInnes would think, there's money there.
Do you know we've run out of time? I can't believe it. Luckily I looked there. Scotland's scoreline tomorrow night, Billy. What do you feel?
I think Scotland, not be straightforward, I'm going to go for 2-1 though.
Exactly what I was going to say, Paul. 2-1 Scotland.
Brilliant. Thank you so much,
It's a
both of you
pleasure.
tonight. Thanks to everyone
Cheers,
who's
Paul.
been on. Stay tuned. Joe Kildare is up next, but we're coming live from Hampden tomorrow night at 5 with Mark Guidi and Barry Ferguson. Thank you so much for listening.
This is the Go Radio Football Show with Burger King. Try the brand new Wagyu Burger. Deliciously seasoned, 100% British flame grilled Wagyu beef with a creamy layer of caramelised onion mayo, peppery rocket and crispy onions, housed within a soft seeded brioche bun.
Let's go! The Flame Grilled Whopper from Burger King. The most food-filling burger.
Is it, though?
Is that?
Yes. A slightly better version of you.
I don't understand.
Just like the new Whopper that's juicier and tastier than ever before. Same, but hits different. That's my line now.
Oh, sorry.
Whopper never tasted so good. Order now on the Burger King app.